Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I believe I would have to say that this project does go back beyond 4 years. I say that because it was some 9.5 years ago when I first became caught up in politics. It was in July of 1972 that I met with one of the former members of this council and started arguing with him about a hotel on the beach. Somebody else invited me to attend a meeting of a group which was called the Community to Save the South Beach. And we met in an auditorium and talked about what the beachfront might look like. It was also the first time at that meeting that I met some of the ladies concerned with this project, and we talked about the beachfront. From July of 1972 on, through to the election the following year when you came on the council, Mr. Mayor, a great deal of time and energy was spent in talking with the Southern Pacific and its chief spokesman about what should be done down there and about what came to be known as the Chinese Wall. Between that time and the time when the current applicant came on the scene, in 1976, a great deal of education on my part occurred. I learned all about the planning process that one has to go through in order to develop what one ultimately wants to in terms of the style and the scale which is considered to be appropriate to our city. Having been on the city council, I think that the one thing I have learned above everything else is that one does not possess the divine right of kings. What I mean by that is that one does not possess the power to arbitrarily determine what one would like to see on a parcel of private property. Over the years, many people have made reference to this property as a public resource. It is, in fact, a private resource, which many would like to see become a public resource. The only way, however, that one turns it into a public resource is with money. Without the money up front to do that, you are not going to be able to bring about that transformation from private to public. The one thing that government is able to accomplish in this kind of situation is to create zoning and to create a general plan. This plan must have a sense not only of compatibility with the residential nature and character of this city, but has to do also with how you create beauty and culture, open space, and a kind of destiny for the people who live there. I think that the general plan for this project has been admirably put together over the course of these years. I think that the Planning Commission of our city, as someone has stated, has probably become one of the most severe to be found anywhere in this nation. As a result, I think that you have seen a thoroughly detailed but good and competent planning process go on. I think that when you talk about the scale of our city, the planning process has gone that extra mile to try to determine just exactly what that scale is. I sat in this chamber in December 1976 at a time when the then City Council dismissed the issue of whether or not the size of this hotel could be reduced down to 400 rooms. At that time, the applicant said, yes, I will reduce it down to 400 rooms. This statement was greeted with cheers in this chamber, since everyone has said that. If we could get it down to 400 rooms, that indeed would be the style and scale that would be appropriate for this property. By way of comparison, however, I recall that someone referred to that time to the property across the street where what is now the Sheraton Hotel is located, with all the motels that now surround it. He said something to the effect that what we really need is that kind of style and scale over there, something quiet and low-key, where there isn't a lot of activity and there isn't a lot of traffic. Yet, when you look at what is next door, as was stated by staff, the density of those 350 rooms, together with all the motels in the immediate area, is 68 units to the acre, as opposed to 16 units to the acre. In other words, if what is next door really represents the style and the scale of our city, I say that we need to do better. If we can get down from 68 rooms to the acre to 16 rooms to the acre, then it seems to me that we have gone far beyond what others consider to be the style and the scale of our city. The issue of park property has arisen and will continue to be raised. The local coastal plan designates the primary use of the westerly portion of this property for recreation and open space. I will be very much interested in pursuing the primary use of that portion of this property. However, The primary use for this property has always been designated as a hotel and conference center. That was the one.